Do you ever wonder what your life might have been like in the womb or around the time you were born, and how that might be affecting you now? Or perhaps you're a practitioner of some kind and you have clients who come and they talk about feeling like something they're experiencing is from when they were in the womb or being born, or they have symptoms or ways they present that you can't quite get your finger on. They can't quite understand what might be going on. Why on earth is this happening? They might say, well, I've had a good life. It's like, I don't know what's causing this. I haven't had any accidents that would make my neck hurt like this. Or, there's some mystery to what's happening for them, or perhaps for you. And there may be some sense of feeling at a bit of a loss. How do I work with this? Or how do I be with this? It seems to me, from my experience in pre- and perinatal psychology, which is my great passion, that not only is our experience from that early time in the womb and when we're born and just after we're born, not only is it extremely influential, but also it is something that we remember on some level, but tends to not be talked about, tends to not be something we remember consciously. My name is Sheriona Menzam-Sills, and as I said, pre- and perinatal psychology is my passion, and my work tends to almost always be about pre- and perinatal issues. I am a therapist. I've been a somatic dance movement psychotherapist, and I'm a craniosacral therapist. I teach and practice craniosacral biodynamics. And I'm also a continuum teacher. Continuum is a mindful movement practice. And when I work with people, I'm very interested in their bodies, and I'm very interested in how we can be present with what is. Very influenced by mindfulness type approaches and modern understanding of trauma therapy, which is very different from diving into the trauma history, something I went through a lot in my own healing process and would have to, get lost there and find my way back out. But modern trauma work, as you may know, is much more about staying in present time, in the resource, the support that's available in present time as the adult you are now, whatever your current age is, and being able to touch in on what happened back then, or your relationship with it. The trauma isn't actually the event. The trauma is how it's sitting with us. And it seems to me that very often our experience, which often is traumatic in the womb, at birth or shortly after birth, is not acknowledged. We live it out unconsciously. It becomes shadow, like it's in the dark. We don't shine the light of our awareness on it. And so it is always trying to get our attention through our behaviors, our unconscious, automatic, habitual behaviors or ways of thinking, or even our personalities are very much formed by that early experience from what we see in the field of pre- and perinatal psychology. So I'm on a mission to support more awareness of that time of life as a first step in healing. And I also teach practitioners how to work with that material when it arises. So first of all, how to recognize it and how to address it, how to meet it in mindful, compassionate ways. It's not about trying to dig it up, but often it presents, and when you have an awareness of it, you're more aware of that. You see when it's coming up, and can support clients in being able to be with it. What that involves, that ability to see, to perceive, and to be with, what it, in my mind, requires is that we do our own work as practitioners. So if I'm coming to a client with my own unresolved early trauma, I'm likely to perceive them and to meet them as if I was still that little one that was traumatized, at least in some respects. And so I might easily be overwhelmed. I might have a need to fix them from that place of where things were not under my control when I was little, or things were chaotic. I might have a need to put order on this. For example, rather than just being able to be present with the person and support them in their own curiosity and in the building of their own resources and what we call in biodynamics potency, their embodied life energy. So I teach practitioners how to do that. And I'd like to invite you, if you're a practitioner and you're at all curious about this, to check into my training that I called Our Journey Here. And it's a training for practitioners of any kind. I attract a lot of body workers and psychotherapists, counselors, but really any kind of practitioner who works with people. The training is specifically to teach practitioners how to be able to recognize and meet this material in their clients in session work. And so it involves, there's 6 3-day seminars that I'm offering online. And it goes through developmental milestones that we experience before and at birth, starting with preconception, the journey of the sperm and the egg, and the epigenetic influences, the experiences that, say, when I'm an egg in my mother, when she's still inside my grandmother, because the eggs are all there by 5 months after conception. I'm having experiences. I'm being influenced by what my mother is experiencing, which is being influenced by what her mother's experiencing. So we look at all that kind of thing. So starting from preconception through conception, and then various developmental milestones that happen prenatally, birth, and postpartum, the time of hopefully being received and welcomed into one's new family, and the echoes of the prenatal experience that can be there. So in each seminar I present a bit of information about whatever time we're addressing, and lead you through various, sometimes meditative explorations, sometimes explorations that are more movement-based, and we do practice sessions to support the explorer in exploring the territory that we're covering. So I do a demonstration with one of the trainees, and then we go into breakout rooms where usually of 3 people, triads, with either me or an assistant there to supervise you and support you in the breakout room. So you're getting very hands-on training, and in the process you also get to process quite a bit of your own work. It's not the same as therapy. I do recommend also having therapy, or at least experiencing some small womb surround process workshops that I think are ideal for addressing wounding from this early time of life. So it's not therapy per se in the training, but you are getting therapeutic experiences and learning how to do this work with a lot of support. So the training is very influenced by my experience of working quite intensively with Ray Castellino, a pioneer in the field of pre- and perinatal therapy. I worked very intensively with him for 4 years and then continued to work with him and do supervision with him and such until he sadly passed away recently. And he came up with ways to work with people with this material that is acknowledging and addressing or working with the ways that little ones need to be held and met. So where there's early trauma and we're working with it, there's what I look at as a little one within that needs something. And one of the things they need, generally, all little ones need us to slow down, come down to their pace of processing, for example. So we practice that kind of thing. We practice speaking to each other in respectful, compassionate ways and supporting through supportive, reflective witnessing, and asking useful questions that support people in being with their curiosity in present time. So if that appeals to you, I'd love to hear from you. And there's more information on my website at birthingyourlife.org. Thank you for listening, and may you and your inner little one be peaceful and well and happy. Thank you.